Missed by 8 Inches by Lionel D'Souza is a saga of two friends from a remote Indian town, whose journey leads them to manage U.S. Army facilities in a war zone. The core of the narrative is the tragic demise of one friend and the wrongful accusation of the other for leading him to his death. More than a story of loss and injustice, the book is a testament to the unyielding strength of their friendship, detailing their solidarity, shared laughter, and mutual support amid danger. It is a tribute to the unsung civilian contractors who work defenseless in war zones, sacrificing their lives, and whose stories of courage and sacrifice are often untold. Readers will journey with the two friends, witnessing the strength of their bond and the weight of their sacrifices. Please watch the previous chapters to help better understand Chapter 15. We are now moving to Chapter 15, titled Missed by 8 Inches from Missed by 8 Inches, authored by Lionel D'Souza. At 0200 HRS, the announcement was made that the second convoy would be postponed, leaving only the first convoy to proceed. The second convoy was rescheduled to be transported via a cargo flight at 1,200 hours the following day, necessitating our travel by road. Reports indicated that the city was in a state of heightened volatility, with impending events of which we were unaware. We understood that this was not a drill but an actual surge operation. Andrew and I were diligently working on secure lines, assisting Oliver with the final preparations. By 0000 HRS, we felt confident that we had everything under control. Although we were not overly anxious, we remained vigilant as we readied ourselves to join the convoy. Typically, our personal belongings were minimal, limited to a single backpack. Given that our attire for the week consisted solely of uniforms, which were laundered regularly, there was no necessity for additional clothing. By 0100 HRS, the trucks had convened on the runway, gearing up for the convoy's departure. The Army commenced security checks using metal detectors, and upon clearance, we were permitted to board the trucks. The security trucks were outfitted with top-mounted guns and an electromagnetic mine sweeper capable of detecting mines from a distance. For Andrew and me, this procedure was familiar territory, as we had traversed the route between Kandahar and Kabul numerous times during our service. The protocols followed were routine for us. The second truck was laden with armed troops, comprising 11 soldiers from the U.S. Army. The third truck carried essential supplies for the facilities, including spare parts, consumables, and a shipment of fruits and vegetables. Accompanying the cargo were 3 armed personnel and the driver. Andrew and I found our seats in the fourth truck, positioned in the middle with our backs against the truck's body. The trucks were fully enclosed, eliminating any possibility of outside visibility, precluding any chance of sightseeing during the journey. The fifth truck was occupied by the facilities team along with some contractors, while the sixth and seventh trucks were allocated to U.S. troops. As a safety mandate from the Army, we were all equipped with helmets and bulletproof vests, ensuring maximum coverage of our bodies. The only vulnerable area was a small portion of the neck, between where the vest ended and the helmet began. Within the truck, the facilities team members were seated together, all familiar with one another. For those few we hadn't met, introductions were made, fostering new acquaintances amongst us. This camaraderie and mutual recognition among the team members contributed to a sense of unity and preparedness as we embarked on our journey. The assembly of our diverse group was a testament to the global nature of our mission. We were 18 Indians, with Andrew and myself positioned centrally behind the driver's side. Our contingent also included 4 individuals from the Philippines, 7 from Bangladesh, 6 Canadians, and 5 U.S. troops. Aside from the U.S. troops, the rest of us were returning from our respective hometowns after the Christmas holidays. The journey commenced precisely at 0200 HRS, with the trucks rolling out in a convoy. To drown out the roar of the heavy-duty truck engines, I had prepared a playlist of songs on my cell phone, which I listened to through my earbuds. Meanwhile, the Canadian group was making light of the situation, engaging in playful banter and somehow finding enjoyment amidst the backdrop of a war zone. Their laughter and jests added a surreal contrast to the seriousness of our surroundings. Our biannual training sessions on survival tactics during any attacks, coupled with monthly base safety training, ensured that we were well versed in the protocols to be followed during crises and under attack. We were drilled on numerous keywords, which over our extended tenure at the base, had become second nature to us, firmly embedded in our memory. As we prepared to board, I observed the convoy in charge meticulously coordinating with the escort trucks regarding the movement and route. They were tasked with avoiding certain villages and making necessary deviations, a strategy developed to enhance our safety and security during transit. This level of preparedness and attention to detail was a testament to the rigorous training and protocols that were a regular part of our operational procedures. As the cold winter dawn approached, after covering a distance of approximately 200 kilometers, the anticipation of daybreak was palpable, despite our confinement within the closed truck. The Canadians, in their quest for a nicotine fix, would periodically lift the tarpaulin cover to smoke every 45 minutes, granting us fleeting glimpses of the outside world. Andrew and I, bracing against the chill, donned gloves to keep the biting cold at bay. The radio, operated by the troops accompanying us, crackled with updates, keeping us informed of our progress. Upon reaching Saidabad, a brief respite was proposed. The escort trucks, after scouting the location, relayed through the radio that we would pause for a 5-minute break. It was 0600 HRS, and the truck engines hummed steadily, their fuel tanks replenished from the reserves carried from the Kabul base, ensuring they were full for the remaining 250 kilometers of our journey. This meticulous planning and execution of our travel underscored the rigorous training and protocols we adhered to, ensuring our safety and readiness at all times. The location where we halted was a vast, open expanse, offering clear visibility of the roads stretching 2 to 3 kilometers in either direction. These roads were flanked by towering dunes of sand, creating a stark yet beautiful contrast against the clear sky. Our instructions were explicit. For safety reasons, we were to remain within 7 feet of the trucks during our brief bio break. This directive was crucial to ensure our safety in such an open and potentially hazardous environment, and we all complied dutifully, understanding the importance of staying close to our vehicles. During this pause, the Canadians, in a gesture of camaraderie and friendship, extended an offer of cigarettes. I gratefully accepted and joined them in a smoke, appreciating the brief moment of relaxation and social interaction. This small act of sharing a cigarette helped to strengthen the bonds between us, fostering a sense of unity and mutual respect. As we smoked, there was a noticeable shift in personnel. The 5 troops who had been diligently guarding our truck were now relieved by a fresh contingent of 7 troops from the rear vehicle. It was evident that the former group had been without rest for the past 48 hours, their exhaustion palpable. Recognizing their need for rest, it was agreed that they would be afforded a well-deserved respite following the break. This rotation of duties not only exemplified the teamwork and solidarity inherent within the ranks, but also underscored the importance of vigilance and rest in maintaining the overall effectiveness of the travel. The seamless transition between the 2 groups highlighted the efficiency and discipline of the unit. Each member understood their role and the necessity of supporting one another, ensuring that everyone remained alert and capable of performing their duties. This mutual support was vital in such challenging conditions, where the physical and mental demands were relentless. Upon reboarding, the inside of the truck felt significantly more confined. Andrew and I, once again positioned in the middle with our backs against the truck's wall, had switched places. This time, I occupied Andrew's spot, and he was in mine. We found ourselves pressed closely together due to the limited space. The radio crackled to life, marking our departure, and the convoy continued its journey. Remarkably, there had been no gunfire so far. The only sounds were the deep roars of the truck engines, constantly reminding us we were moving through unpredictable terrain. This silence, unbroken by the chaos of conflict, offered a rare moment of tranquility, allowing us a brief respite amidst the ever-present need for vigilance. As the clock neared 1,000 hours, our journey brought us to the outskirts of Ghazni, a city known for its relative tranquility, seldom disturbed by the tumult of conflict. However, today's entry was marked by an unusual soundtrack. The distant rat-a-tat of machine guns reached our ears, a stark contrast to the city's usual calm. The rhythmic knocking was soon joined by the ominous wails of missile sirens, a symphony of warfare that, despite our familiarity, could not be ignored. Even though we had gotten used to those sounds and didn't pay much attention to them anymore, I suddenly felt a strong sense of dread. Andrew, oblivious to the cacophony, had succumbed to sleep, his body curled into a restful pose. Around us, some engaged in hushed conversations, while others, like myself, were attuned to the external noises, a reminder of the ever-present dangers that lay beyond the truck's confines. As the intensity of the sounds escalated, we became acutely aware that the surge had commenced earlier that morning. The cacophony of gunfire, though initially disconcerting, began to fade as we moved beyond Ghazni, eventually giving way to an unsettling silence. This abrupt cessation left me pondering whether it was merely the calm before another storm. I roused Andrew from his slumber, sharing my unease about the situation. His response was one of reassurance, invoking the protection of a higher power. "Don't worry, God is there and He will protect us." Yet for me, the divine was a refuge sought primarily in times of distress, a sanctuary in the face of uncertainty. In an unexpected turn, one of the troops summoned me by name, informing me that a radio message awaited my attention. Accepting the radio handed to me, I recognized Neil's voice on the other end. He was inquiring about the whereabouts of the spare keys for the locked barracks. I promptly provided him with the precise location before returning the walkie-talkie to the troop. The troop, curious, inquired, "Facilities?" to which I affirmed with a yes. He introduced himself as Marty, and I reciprocated the introduction. Marty shared that this was his inaugural tour, prompting me to share, with a hint of pride. I spoke of my experience of multiple tours and the 10 years I had served the Army as a contractor. This revelation was met with laughter from Marty, and our conversation continued. By 1100 HRS, our convoy was en route to Kandahar, with an estimated 3 to 4 hours remaining on our arduous journey. The roads, marred by potholes, made for a jarring ride, each dip causing the trucks to lurch violently, adding to our exhaustion. Amidst this discomfort, a sudden deafening blast shattered the monotony, its proximity rendering it ear-splitting. The initial shock wave was swiftly followed by a second explosion, this one alarmingly close. Instinctively, the troops peered out, and the protocol was swiftly enacted: duck, duck, duck. At this command, we all knew to press ourselves to the floor without hesitation, bracing for whatever might come next in these tense moments. Gunfire erupted suddenly, a stone's throw from our truck, shattering the brief respite. I had instinctively flattened myself against the floor, but Andrew, caught off guard with his head resting on his knees, was slower to react. The air was thick with the sound of 10 to 15 guns discharging simultaneously, a cacophony of chaos that enveloped us. The intensity was palpable, and amidst the confusion, none of us could discern the unfolding events. Troops from the rear and within our own truck retaliated, and a fierce exchange of fire ensued. Shouts in Pashto pierced the air, laced with curses directed at us. In that moment, thoughts of my family flashed before me. Images of my wife and children vividly materialized, and I was gripped by the notion that this could be the end. Miraculously, our truck maneuvered through the melee, accelerating away as the roars of engines from the trucks behind us faded into the distance. Protocol dictated that we remain hunkered down until the clear signal was given. After what felt like an eternity but was merely 3 minutes, the command came through, and we cautiously repositioned ourselves against the truck's back wall, each of us silently processing the ordeal we had just endured. I was the first to regain composure in the truck, immediately checking on the well-being of my companions. To my dismay, I discovered a grim scene. 2 Canadians lay motionless, their lives seemingly ebbing away in a crimson tide. Beside me, colleagues bore the marks of battle, their bodies punctured by bullets, their faces contorted in pain and shock. Compelled to assist, I nudged Andrew with my elbow, urging him to rise and lend his aid. Yet, he remained unresponsive, his eyes closed as if in a deep, untroubled sleep. With determination, I rose and began the somber task of moving the Canadians away from the departed, only to notice the dampness of my own attire. A touch confirmed my worst fears. It was blood. My hands trembled as I wiped them on my pants, trying to clear my mind and focus on the task at hand. My gaze turned to Andrew, who lay still, untouched by the chaos. The truck continued its relentless march forward. The engine's loud noise kept reminding us how risky our situation was. I grasped Andrew's arm, attempting to rouse him, but to no avail. He was breathless, the life within him extinguished by a bullet that had slipped past his armor, striking his back. The realization hit me hard. The shot had missed me by a mere 8 inches from where I sat and had struck Andrew. Andrew's body, still warm and pliable, lay silent. Words failed me as I called out to him in desperation, pleading for him to awaken, to not abandon me in this moment. But my pleas went unanswered, and Andrew remained in his eternal slumber, at peace amidst the turmoil. The truck jolted over rough terrain, each bump sending a fresh wave of pain through my body. I looked around at the faces of my remaining companions, their expressions a mix of fear and sorrow. We were all in this together, yet each of us felt the weight of our losses in our own way. The air was thick with the smell of gunpowder, smoke and blood, a stark reminder of the violence we had just endured. As I sat there, holding Andrew's lifeless hand, memories of our time together flooded my mind. We had shared so many moments of laughter and camaraderie, and now he was gone, taken by the cruel hand of fate. 20 minutes subsequent to the harrowing gunfire, our truck came to a halt in an isolated area. It was there we were briefed on the tragic events that had unfolded. The lead escort truck had been obliterated in the first loud blast. The second truck rendered inoperative by the barrage of bullets with the second blast. And the third truck, in a valiant attempt to shield the others, was also destroyed. The fourth truck, through a daring maneuver, navigated through the inferno of the 2 burning trucks and made its escape. Out of the 11, only 4 trucks managed to break free from the range of fire. Amidst the chaos, my focus remained on Andrew, my brother-in-arms, who lay motionless with his head on my lap. Despite my efforts to revive him, Marty intervened, his words a stark declaration of the irreversible truth. "Mate, he is no more, stop it." The reality of loss weighed heavily upon me. Andrew had been taken by the conflict, a mere 8 inches from where I had been seated. The term "killed in action" would be the official designation, a cold comfort amidst the grief of a comrade fallen. End of chapter 15. Subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon for more updates on the next chapters. Thank you for listening and subscribing.